Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a beer named after a buffalo with a picture of a walrus on it. That's right, this is a new beer from Black Isle Brewery, one of my favourites as many of you will know, and this one is called Anyone Seen My Buffalo? But then there's a picture of a walrus on the front of it. I'm not really sure why. Maybe the can will give us some insight later on. We will find out. But I do know the reason behind the name. And that is because this beer is a Baltic Porter aged in Buffalo Trace bourbon barrels. And if you think that sounds good, I certainly do too. So before we crack into it then, here is a quick look at the can. It's a nice walrus. There's no doubting that. And then on the back there, anyone seen my buffalo? With a load of information we'll get into a bit later. Before we crack this open, I should say that this beer was sent to me by Mike, the general manager at the Black Isle Bar in Fort William, which is not where the Black Isle Brewery is, just on the Black Isle. But I do happen to be wearing my Fort William t-shirt today, and that was a happy mistake. But yes, anyway, he also sent me a couple of these beautiful canonical pint glasses in which to enjoy these stouts out of, so we'll be using that. Firstly, an absolutely beautiful looking pint in the glass there. And secondly, the aroma on opening this, there is no getting away from the fact that this is aged in bourbon barrels. I mean, sometimes when people say they've aged it in X, Y, and Z, you get maybe a hint, maybe a suggestion of whatever was in that barrel before, but not this time. That is huge, huge bourbon whiskey aromas, and oh, wow, just look at it. In the glass then, kind of solid near finger cream, light coffee coloured head, and in the glass it's almost completely pitch black. There's just a hue of brown, not red, solid brown at the bottom of it. But yeah, otherwise, an absolutely superb looking porter. Right then, let's get into it. Aromas. As expected from what happened when I opened the can, massive bourbon aroma. Kind of sweet, caramel, dark, brown sugar, kind of molasses, real just deep, rich bourbon vibes. And then there's a few real strong hints that this is in fact a porter. There's a good coffee hit to it. There's a creaminess to the aroma, and the roasty malt profile of the beer as well doesn't get completely dominated by that bourbon cast, thankfully, but they're all competing big time. So I'm going to be really interested to see how this tastes. So let's find out. Cheers. I so often try and keep a straight face when reacting to beer, but wow, no straight face there. It's quintessentially a Black Isle dark beer. Don't get me wrong, a lot of their beers have a similarity, have a low-level taste profile that just goes, yep, that is our stamp, our trademark. And it has that in balance. Now, one thing I did forget to tell you was the strength of this beer. As I said, it was a Baltic Porter, so to give you an idea, it's pretty high, but it's not silly. It is, in fact, 7.4%, which, for me, that just tips the scales into not a regular occurrence, if you know what I mean. Anything below 7 is still strong, obviously, if it's above 6, but it's not maybe daunting. 7.4, we're starting to get into big territory there. But at the same time, it's not so boozy that it's too much, too intense. And I think in this beer, that's a very good thing, because that whiskey profile is so not overpowering, but it's so prominent, along with a series of other flavours, that actually if it was booze heavy as well as whiskey heavy, it could start to put some people off. And I think they've balanced it very, very well. But anyway, enough blabbing. What does it actually taste like? Well, I mean, we're going to have to do a top to bottom taste test because there's so much going on there. But there's a chocolatiness to it. There's a bit of coffee still in there. The bourbon is there, but it's not as strong as it was on the aroma. Nowhere near. Huge licks of caramel. Proper roastiness. There's an argument for a bit of licorice. Heaps of vanilla. Oh, just that. That is a class beer. Right, top to bottom taste test. Let's do it. So, initially, tiny bit sweet, tiny bit carbonated on the front of the tongue, actually. Looks flat in the glass, but there's still just a hint of the fizz there. That second stage is smooth, creamy, slightly sweet. A lot of dark beers at the minute do seem to have a lactose sweetness without the lactose. Whether that's just something going on in my palate or is genuinely a trend, I'm not sure. But it has that kind of where you would expect a lactose sweetness in a lactose beer. It's mimicking that, but not quite, if that makes sense. On the swallow, starts off a little bit sharp, a little bit tingly in the back, that bourbon flavour, heaps of caramel, heaps of vanilla, toasty, and the aftertaste is, well, on fire, almost a bit of rich cherry in there, weirdly, subtle, but I'm pretty sure it's there, and a bit of kind of Black Forest Gatto. It's really got 101 things going on this, but in the best possible way. Everything's just dialed in just nice. It's really, yeah, I'm on board, as you can tell. Right, let's take a look at the can. On the front then, as I said before, it's just got a picture of a walrus and the Black Isle logo. I mean, I don't know why, but hopefully we'll get to find out. And then it says, anyone seen my buffalo? Question mark. Wanting to warm your cockles on a cold day, this barrel-aged Baltic Porter will turbocharge your Walrus. I'm not sure what my Walrus is, but I'm sure it will. Aged in Buffalo Trace bourbon barrels, this most peculiar of lager styles. Lager styles? That says lager styles. Has been made with one thing in mind: opulent weekends in front of the fire or a Tuesday. The choice is yours. Bonus, I'm filming this on a Tuesday. It's taken a year to make it, so take time to drink it. 100% organic. Is a Baltic Porter a lager? Have I just learned something? Is it lagered, but not a lager? I am absolutely confused, but they know what they're doing. Suitable for vegans. There's 3.3 UK units in this 440ml can. As I said, it's 7.4%. Drink responsibly stuff. And then on this side, firstly, it says Black Isle Brewing Co. They're Vegetarian Society approved. Save the planet, drink organic, as it says in large letters on this thing behind me that you can't really see. And it also says drink in nature, which it also says on the front of my glass there. So that must be Black Isle's new little tagline. Black Isle Brewery, IV88NZ, made in Scotland. And the ingredients are water, malted barley, hops, and yeast. That's it. Ain't nothing else in it. Black Isle are always fully organic, which means, generally speaking, they don't use a lot of adjuncts and additives. The flavour they get out of raw profiles is just incredible. It also gives the ingredients in quite a few other languages, and yeah, that's about it. Wow, there is no more information on there. There is also no more reference to the Walrus, other than that this beer will turbocharge your Walrus, which make of that what you will, I guess. Final thoughts. Well, final thoughts are, I don't want to rush this beer. It is so nice. It's so well put together. It's got just huge, huge flavours all the way through. Now it's warmed up a bit. I feel like I'm starting to get a bit of a rich brownie, maybe a bit of marshmallow, rocky road. There's so many dessert profiles in this one glass. To say that there's no adjuncts and additives is just absolutely insane, really. I mean, and I think I've just nailed down what it is that gives most of Black Isle's dark beers their kind of trademark underlying flavour. Don't know what ingredient it is, but I've always tried to work it out, because as much as I love their beers, there is an initial underlying taste that always kind of takes me a bit like, I don't know if I like that or not. I certainly don't dislike it, but kind of just triggers a reactive memory that goes, I'm not sure. And I think it's got a tiny bit of underlying marzipan, of all things, which is something I'm not keen on, but it's almondy. It is absolutely an almond flavour in there. Don't know how they get it in, don't know what malt it comes from, but it's 100% in there. And that nuttiness, along with the chocolate, the coffee, the caramel richness from the bourbon, everything else, this is just the most delicious boozy dessert, really, ever. I don't think I need to say it. Big thumbs up from me. And that is all I have to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribed, if you will be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.